Minister, I want to welcome you to the House again, and I have a number of issues in relation to rent caps and housing in general, and I'm hoping that when you become the leader of the Labour Party that you might address all of these with your cabinet colleagues. The first thing I want to raise in relation to, Minister, in relation to rent caps. Minister, in relation to rent caps, there are some counties where the rent caps that are put in place are far too low. And as a result of it, many people can't acquire proper accommodation, and they end up in either substandard accommodation to meet the rent cap, or else they have to subsidise the rent to a greater degree by paying the landlord under the counter extra money so that they can get the accommodation. And I think that this area should be looked at. And as a result of that, because of the fact that they find themselves in substandard accommodation, and God knows we have plenty of it, they may not qualify at any stage for a ROSS rental assistance scheme because the council will deem the property to be unsuitable. The second thing I want to say is I found it very strange when we were on the campaign trail for the last number of months, the amount of local authority houses in my own area that were vacated. And I asked the question, why? Because local authority rents are too high. So if you're earning, that's the reason. If you're earning €500, if you're earning €500 a week, you'll be paying €100 to the county council, while at the same time you can go into the private rented sector and get a house for €80, even though the rent cap appropriate to the person might be less than 70. So it's an issue that needs to be dealt with on a departmental basis. A third thing I just want to mention to you, Minister, in relation to the Youth Guarantee, which I very much welcome, and I don't know the answer to this, but there are many people out there that are unemployed, that are not getting the dole, that are living at home with parents by virtue of the fact that they're living at home with parents. They're not entitled to it. Are they going to be part of the Youth Guarantee scheme? And I met a man coming to work this morning, and he complained, and I know him, he complained to me that he's in his 60s, he can't get on a CE scheme because he's not on the dole. He's not getting a Euro dole because the wife has a job and it rules him out. And I feel sorry for those people because they're all willing to work. So there's a lot more people out there unemployed than is reflected on the unemployment register. The penultimate thing I want to raise is I always had an issue about it being a prerequisite to getting rent allowance that you go on the housing list, because I think the housing list is deflated and there's thousands of people on the housing list that aren't actually looking for local authority housing. So we get hammered in by our opposition who say, look at the number of people that's on the housing list. There's thousands of them that don't want local authority housing. They're only on it so that they can qualify for rent allowance. And finally, I do have an issue, Minister, and this was brought to my attention by a lady, and it's not really your responsibility, but it needs to be taken into consideration. A lady who's on the rental assistance scheme. She knows in her heart and soul, she worked in the service industry in Ballahadreen, in my own town, for years and years. She's unemployed. There is no work for her in Ballahadreen. She's a single mother with a 17-year-old child who next year is going to be going to college in Galway, she hopes. She tried to get a transfer. She tried to get a transfer from the local authority district of Roscommon to Galway so that she could get work and so that she could put her child into college in Galway. But she was told that the only way that she can be considered by Galway County Council for rental assistance scheme is if she presents to them as homeless. So I mean, this is a situation that needs to be dealt with. There needs to be a policy between local authorities that they will accommodate transfers of people who are genuinely looking for work. This girl will never work again unless she can go to a town where there's work available to her. So thanks again, Minister, for listening to me.